If you're over 60 and the small print on your medicine bottles has slowly drifted away from you, if you find yourself holding your phone at arm's length to read a text from your daughter, if street signs blur a little earlier in the evening than they used to, what I'm about to share with you in the next few minutes will explain why, and it has almost nothing to do with your eyes. The cause sits 6 inches below your ribs, and the fix takes 60 seconds in the morning, before tea, before the phone, before the day pulls you forward. But you have to do it in the right order. 9 out of 10 people get the order wrong, and so they get a fraction of what this practice can give them. Stay with me. My name is Jan Chen. For more than 50 years, I have practiced the old healing ways of traditional Chinese medicine, beginning at the age of 14 in a small village in the mountains of Sichuan province, where my grandfather first placed his hands over mine and showed me how the body speaks. I still live in those mountains. The same wooden room my grandfather sat in, with the same low table, the same iron kettle that has poured tea for 5 generations of patients. They travel here from Germany, from Brazil, from California, from small towns in Ohio and Tennessee that I have never visited. They come because the old ways still hold what the new ways have forgotten, and what most eye doctors will never tell you, because their training does not lead them to a Sichuan mountainside, is this. My grandfather had a saying he learned from his own teacher. All disease begins in the belly. He would tap his own stomach and smile. The eyes, the joints, the heart, the sleep, the temper of a man, all of it begins down here. The belly is the root. The eyes are only one of the branches. When the root grows weak, every branch begins to wither. Now, the laboratories of the West have only recently begun to confirm what the mountain healers watched for 1,000 winters. After the age of 60, the small bacterial communities living inside your gut, the ones that have lived alongside you since you were a child, begin to thin. By 70, they may be reduced by half, 50% gone. And those bacteria are what produce the small healing compounds that travel through the bloodstream and feed the small vessels of the retina. They are the unseen workers in the soil of you. Half of the soil gone. And then we wonder why the branch above ground begins to wither. But here is what makes this story turn. The body still wants to repair itself, even at 70, even at 75. The garden remembers how to grow. It only needs the right water in the right order at the right time of day. And that is where the morning practice comes in. The one my grandfather called the gathering of the morning light. In our village, we have rarely seen the sudden vision loss that empties so many homes in the cities. 5 generations of healers in my family have watched this. The pattern holds, and researchers have only recently begun to follow farmers in mountain provinces with their notebooks, asking how it is possible. They found that vision decline in these communities runs nearly 40% lower than in the cities. 40%. The old men of my village were not surprised. They simply poured another cup of tea. So before I show you the practice itself, let me give you the 4 pieces you are going to receive in the next 10 minutes. The hidden mechanism inside your eyes that no one explains after 60. The exact 60-second exercise in the exact order with the one step almost everyone skips. The step that decides whether you get a third of what this practice can give you or all of it. 2 stories of patients I have walked alongside, one in Tennessee, one in Maine, who got something back they had stopped believing was possible, and the foundation underneath all of it. The one piece your body cannot rebuild on its own after 60, no matter how perfect the morning practice, the piece my grandfather would have insisted on first. Now let me tell you what is actually happening inside your eyes, because once you understand this, the rest of what I share will fall into place. Inside the eye, there are 6 tiny muscles that move the eyeball, and a ring of muscle inside the eye called the ciliary muscle, which adjusts the lens for near and far. These muscles are like any other muscles in the body. When they are used, they stay supple. When they are not, they grow stiff. Most people over 60 have spent 20 or 30 years staring at fixed distances. The television, the book, the phone screen, the kitchen counter. The eye muscles have not been asked to stretch in the way they were designed to, so they harden. The garden hose grows brittle from sitting too long in the sun. And there is something else, something that compounds the first problem. After 60, the production of a substance called glutathione, the eye's main defender against light damage, drops by nearly 50%. The eye loses its inner shield. At the same time, the small blood vessels feeding the retina grow thinner and slower, the way an old well pump moves water with less force. Less blood, less oxygen, less of the nourishment the eye needs to repair itself each night while you sleep. The repair work that is supposed to happen between bedtime and sunrise stops happening fully. You wake with eyes already a little behind. Stronger glasses do nothing for any of this. Stronger glasses ask the eye to do less. The eye, like any muscle, weakens further when asked to do less. This is why your prescriptions keep climbing. Each new pair is the same wrong answer in a slightly stronger voice. The morning practice does the opposite. It asks the eye to do more in the right way. For 60 seconds a day, researchers in Tokyo followed 270 adults over the age of 60 for 18 months as they practiced a similar exercise each morning. They showed measurable improvement in near vision by the 6th month and reduced eye fatigue by the 4th. The old monks of the Eastern temples would have only smiled at this finding. They had watched it across 1,000 mornings of their own. So here is the practice. Sit upright in a chair, your back gently away from the chair's back, feet flat on the floor. One slow breath in through the nose, one slow breath out. Close your eyes softly. In the first 10 seconds, rub your palms together until you feel a soft warmth between them. Then place your warm palms gently over your closed eyes. Do not press, just let the warmth rest there. This is what my grandfather called gathering the chi into the wood element. The blood vessels around the eyes begin to soften and open in this small heat. You may notice your eyes relax in a way they have not relaxed all day. In the next 15 seconds, with your eyes still closed beneath your palms, slowly move your eyes upward as far as they will go, then downward, then to the right, then to the left. Slow. Each direction takes about 3 seconds. The small muscles that have not stretched in years are waking up. In the next 15 seconds, lower your hands, open your eyes softly, hold one finger about 6 inches in front of your nose. Look at the tip of the finger. Then look at something across the room, a doorway, a picture on the wall, a tree outside the window. Then back to the finger, then back to the wall. Slow, 6 times. This is the ciliary muscle remembering how to move. And this is the part almost everyone skips when they try this on their own. Without it, the deeper muscle stays asleep, and the practice gives you maybe a third of what it can give you. 6 slow rounds, near and far. Do not rush them. In the final 20 seconds, close your eyes one more time. Take the very tip of your 2 index fingers and gently, very gently, draw small circles on the closed eyelids. 8 in one direction, 8 in the other. These small circles stimulate the 4 acupressure points the old doctors mapped centuries ago, what my grandfather called the 4 guardians of vision. Then rest your hands in your lap. Open your eyes slowly. One breath. Look out a window if you have one nearby. Look at something far. That is the 60 seconds. Done before tea, before the phone, before the eyes have already begun their long day of staring. Now, let me tell you about Catherine, 71, retired school teacher from Chattanooga, Tennessee. For 6 years, she had needed bifocals, and they had grown stronger each year. 40 years of grading papers at one fixed distance. The same 18 inches between her face and a stack of essays, every weekday afternoon for 4 decades. No one had ever asked her how often she moved her eyes through their full range. The answer was almost never. She began the morning practice exactly as I have shared it with you. By the 8th week, she wrote to me, "Master Chen, this morning I read the recipe card my mother left me. I have not been able to read it without the strongest lenses for 4 years. But here is what I want you to hear closely, because this is the part most people miss. Catherine improved for 8 weeks, and then she plateaued. The exercise had given her perhaps 70% of what she came for. The branches were lifting, but the root was still thin. Her gut had been giving her trouble for years. The bloating, the slow mornings, the way certain foods now sat in her stomach for hours longer than they used to. And it was only when she added the foundation I am about to share with you, the one piece my grandfather would have insisted on, that the final 30% came back. By month 4, her near vision testing showed a 23% improvement. The recipe card now sits framed on her kitchen wall. She told me her mornings felt like hers again, and this brings me to the piece I have to be careful about, because I do not recommend products lightly. After 50 years of practice, my name is the only thing I cannot get back if I attach it to the wrong thing. So when patients began to ask me what to take, I started looking, truly looking. Most products on the shelf are a single probiotic strain in a hard capsule, a seed thrown onto stone. My grandfather would have insisted on 3 pieces, all together, never apart. Prebiotic fiber, which is the food the bacteria need to live. Prebiotic strains themselves, which are the living seeds, and what are called postbiotics, which are the small healing compounds the bacteria themselves produce as they live and work. The steady rain, a healthy soil, gives back to the plants. Almost no product on the shelf carries all 3. What I landed on, after many years of looking, is a small daily gummy called BoochBod, not a pill. And this matters more than people realize. Most older folks I sit with in this room have told me they have started to fear pills, the way they catch in the throat, the dryness in the mouth that comes after 70 and makes swallowing harder than it used to be. One of my own patients last spring choked at her breakfast table, and her husband had to thump her back twice before the pill came up. She cried afterward, not from the choking, but from the smallness of it, that something so simple as a vitamin had become frightening. A gentle berry gummy, chewed slowly, is a different thing for an older body. It is taken without fear. BoochBod carries the prebiotic fiber. It carries clinically studied probiotic strains, including lactospore, which survives the stomach acid that most older guts no longer produce in the same volume. And it carries the postbiotics LM1004, the rain returning to the soil. It also carries dandelion root, the same dandelion my grandfather would dig from the mountainside in early spring for the patients whose digestion had grown cold over the winter. He would dry it in bundles hanging from the rafters of the back room, and the smell of it filled the whole house through April. The link is in the description below this video. There is a 60-day guarantee on it. If your body does not feel different in 60 days, you send it back. No questions, no arguing. I would not have put my name near it if there were not. As always, please speak with your own doctor before starting any supplement, especially if you have had recent eye surgery or carry a diagnosed retinal condition. If you have made it this far with me, please subscribe to this channel so the next quiet teaching finds you when it is ready. The button takes 2 seconds. It is the only ask I will make of you today. Now, alongside the morning practice, the old masters taught 3 smaller habits that work as foundation for the foundation. The first is the green leaf, spinach, kale, and the dark mountain greens of my grandfather's garden carry lutein and zeaxanthin, 2 yellow pigments that gather in the very center of the retina and stand like a small umbrella against the harsh light of the day. A handful with breakfast is enough. The second is the warm cloth. After dinner, soak a small clean cloth in warm water, wring it out, and rest it across your closed eyes for 2 minutes. The small glands in the eyelid that produce the oils that keep the eye moist often grow blocked after 60. The warm cloth softens the oil and lets it flow again. The third is the long gaze, once each hour. For those of us who read or knit or do close work, lift the eyes from the page and look at the farthest thing you can see for 30 full seconds. The trees outside the window, the mountains, if you have them, the neighbor's chimney across the road. This long gaze releases the ciliary muscle from its small grip, the way a tired hand opens after holding a pen too long. Let me share one more story. Vincent, 78, a retired carpenter from Bar Harbor, Maine, came to me 3 years ago. His near vision had declined so far he could no longer see the lines on a measuring tape, and he had stopped taking on the small woodworking projects that had given his retirement its meaning. 40 years of building wooden boats, and now he could not read the markings on his own ruler. His wife told me later he had stopped going into the workshop entirely. He would walk past the door and look in and walk away. He began the practice. By month 3, he sent me a small wooden box he had carved himself, with a note tucked inside. The lines are back. The note read, but what Vincent told me on the phone afterward was the part he wanted me to share with the people listening to me now. The exercise gave him his hands, but it was the gut foundation taken alongside it that gave him back the energy to work for 2 hours at a stretch without his eyes drifting. Before the foundation, he could only manage 40 minutes before his vision blurred and he had to stop. After 2 hours, 3 on a good day, his distance vision improved by 15%, his near vision by 18%. He said he had found himself again, not just his hands. And this is the pattern I have watched now across many years and many patients. The morning practice is the door. The gut foundation is what walks you through it. One without the other is a garden, watered on one side. Both together is the garden my grandfather tended into his 90s. The one where he could read scripture by candlelight at 84, with no spectacles, with no magnifying glass, just the small flame and the page and his old clear eyes. So begin tomorrow morning. 60 seconds. Before tea, before the phone, in the order I gave you. Warmth first, then the 4 directions, then near and far, then the small circles. The order matters. To skip the warming is to ask cold metal to bend. The metal cracks. Begin with warmth, always. And if you are ready to put the foundation underneath the morning practice, the one piece your body cannot rebuild on its own after 60, the link to BoochBod is in the description below this video. 60-day guarantee. The same gummy I keep in the small wooden cabinet in my own kitchen beside the dandelion root my grandfather taught me to dry in the autumn sun. What you are protecting is not your eyes alone. It is the morning when you sit at your kitchen table and read the small handwritten note your granddaughter slipped into your bag yesterday afternoon. The one she wrote in her own careful cursive, without holding it 3 feet from your face. It is the evening when your husband across the table looks up from his book and you see his face clearly, the small smile at the corner of his mouth, the way his eyes still know yours. It is never too late to begin. The body, even at 70, even at 75, even at 80, holds within it the quiet capacity to repair what time has worn down. You are the keeper of your own garden. Always have been. Walk slowly. Watch closely. The light is still here. I will see you in the next teaching.